Hi everyone, it's Adrian Leah. I'm doing a reading. It's going to be, um, I wouldn't say a quick one, but I wanted to make one before I move a bunch of stuff to another room as my godmother's having guests. I was hoping to keep my stuff in this room and maybe just move what I would need for the night, but it's just in case somebody goes into the room. So I'm going to try to move some stuff into the back of my car because I don't want to put too much in my car, and then I'm going to rummage through the stuff. And then I have like an inconspicuous box that I stored some things underneath the pool table. It's just the things that I don't use as much. So maybe it'll be less to move. I'll do a little bit of a life update because um, it's that video where I am going to share those things. I didn't share on this channel what I did on my birthday, but I just mentioned it when I in like my birthday haul video. You can skip ahead if you don't want to listen to this stuff. Maybe like 10 minutes. So I didn't do much. I I don't really have a sleep schedule at the moment, so by the time I get ready for things, it's usually around like 3 to 5 in the afternoon, and then I have a selection of places to go to. I feel like my favorite time, which is not really my favorite time, is to leave at 5 when people are coming, well, people are coming from work to go home, and I'm just trying to start off my day. So I was getting ready to maybe go to the park. I didn't have anything planned. And my godmother was walking into the house and she brought the cake in, and I wasn't expecting her to remember my birthday. I wasn't going to bring it up. So I was happy, and she bought food. Um, I had to look at my settings because she tried to send a message to me, but I didn't get it. So I will probably press like random buttons on my phone to see if that works. But I got the AirDrop to work, and I don't know what I did to make it work, but she was trying to send me the pictures of like the cake and stuff. So, like when I was in front of the cake or behind cake, and then I was fortunate to have the cake, and it was a day where one of the yarn stores near me was open late, and towards the end of the night, that's when a group of knitters come in to knit. And there's a lot of times in yarn stores, there's like a big table or room or section where people bring their projects and sit around. And so I finished my autumn lark crop sweater and I wore that and I went to knit night. And that was basically what I did. I got a little bit of birthday yarn. Well, because I ordered yarn from Ukraine. I don't know when that'll be here, but I got like a sweaters quantity because I wanted to make a garment with just the Ukrainian yarn. And it's at a weight of yarn that I feel will be good in case there's a test that comes up because one of the knitwear designers who is a Ukrainian knitwear designer, she uses yarn that is around that weight of yarn. I'd have to see what the project or what the product is. So if it comes to that, I could put it aside for testing. And tomorrow, since there's going to be guests over, I was going to wake up really early and I would sleep because um, I'm going to go to the flea market again because I want to get out before they start preparing stuff. And they're open like the earliest out of everywhere else, aside from like supermarkets. Sometimes people walk around the mall. Um, the flea market is a place where you could just, it's like a thrifting place where you get a lot of, well, not everything secondhand, but a lot of the stuff that they sell, they're secondhand. I just got a project bag, luggage type of doctor bag that I have been using a lot. And I also wanted to go to the yarn store after that because um, I wanted to gradually get the Pasta Blend yarn that I used some of the birthday money with, so get a little more. And I was, you know, just gradually getting it, and it was on sale, so I do want to get an amount where I could make a garment. And I feel like today has been one of the more eventful days for for me because it's been kind of vacation time for me since I've been back in this area. But I was thinking I would get something part-time, and so the dilemma was because I didn't know when I would be leaving and I would feel bad if I went through so much training and put they put effort into training me and I wouldn't be there for a long time. So I thought that towards the end of the year is a good time, and I go to another yarn store that's also near me, and this one I was hearing or getting the impression that they might have wanted to have more people help out. So I went in today for my interview and they wanted to see like a portfolio of the stuff I did. So of course I wanted to bring the stuff in person. And I thought that it was great because it's part-time and I could help with teaching classes there and learn some things because I want to do as much as I can with my knitting and knit different types of projects that have different types of unique um, aspects or elements of the pattern or the garment so that I could add it to my arsenal. And I also wanted discounted yarn too. So I feel like it'd be good because I could go overseas to look at places and maybe look at jobs there too. And it would be a good type of balance there. And if I work extra part-time, um, because a lot of the workers are retired too, so, and then are a little out of retirement. So, I might just get paid in cash if I work extra part-time, like extra part-time, like not a lot of hours at all, which should be perfect, actually, based off of what the government sees while I'm going through my process. So it's a little over 10 minutes. I'm so sorry, but I will probably make another video log just talking about this stuff too. So I'll get started and hopefully the moving isn't too much because I don't feel like moving this stuff. I feel like there is an energy of like dilemma, and I'll give an example too. There's also other things that I was planning on talking about. I feel like this could be a deeper reading. Um, as I was saying, that my godmother's messages didn't go through, and then um, my parents, they're overseas right now. Well, I think my dad might be back. I don't know. And I'm kind of used to them not saying anything exactly on my birthday. Sometimes they have said it, sometimes they literally forgot, which, I mean, that's, I don't know. And then, so my mom, she tried sending a message, and then she was saying that she couldn't get her message to go through, but she is also overseas. Then my dad, I'm not sure, but he also said it on a different day, but his went through regular text message. Um, I'll have to see with the yarn store too because she was asking about how I am with computers, and I'm like, well, um, and she said it, they work with Mac if that helps. And maybe I might watch a couple of tutorials of stuff. I don't know what I would watch, but maybe just the basic things. Because I haven't used a Mac in a long time. But I feel like it's really nice, and it is one of those, in a way, for me, a foot through the door, like it was for my pharmacy jobs. So I would say one of the pharmacy jobs was the like foot through the door to get into it. The other pharmacy job was like like the extra foot through the door or like your other foot through the door because it was compounding. So this would help when, because I want to design patterns, but the main thing is I want to make sure that it's readable and easy to follow for the knitters. And um, they were saying, or she was saying, that I'm gonna do more um, swatching so I can make more predictable knits based off of meeting the correct gauge. And that's also something that you see in patterns because you're going to be helping people find yarn. And they're not always going to use the yarn that the project calls for. Um, Sorry, I went off topic again, but one of the things was like dilemma, or there's something that like there's more to meets the eye in terms of like why somebody maybe didn't show up. You know what I mean? And another thing, oh yeah, I drove to Philadelphia. I don't know why I said that. I drove to Philly, and it was mainly for going to Netcost Market because I'm still in the hunt for Gulliver chocolate. No, they didn't have it there, but they did have my favorite ice cream, and I do take something when I eat it. And when I was driving there, I was next to one of those buses that carried prisoners, and I'm not saying people are, I mean, could be, but I'm not necessarily implying that anyone's being a prisoner right now, but there was like that movement, and there's like one location to the other. There's just something that like is behind the scenes that you're not necessarily affiliated with, but other people or the other person, they're kind of like busy doing that stuff. And some might be struggling without others making, or without bringing it to light to other people. The bottom of the deck is Queen of Water, tenderness, I'm sorry, tender-hearted, empathetic, patient-loving. Relationships develop to a new level. Trust your intuition, care for yourself and others. For some reason, when this comes up, I'm not saying not to be this, but there's another aspect of, again, when maybe you're more of like a trust the process and intuitive or playing it by ear type of mentality, but there's something about like professionalism. And it's like fine tuning because there's an awareness that in general, basic things, but there are other things that need to be learned or like fine tuning. And for some reason, radio. It's like kind of tuning a radio too. But because when I was there, like at the yarn store, I'm sorry, I keep jumping around. When I was at the yarn store, um, you're also getting like the things of what you could also do to um, that might make it easier, that makes a more quality product, and I'm definitely taking it in because I want to learn as much as I can. I want to make excellent products, so I want to put out patterns, and that would be something that is ideal. And so now you've been training yourself or like being self-taught, and now um someone is helping take the reins. It's more of like um street fighting to professional fighting, if that makes sense. The Knight of Earth, Knight of Pentacles has come up in the other reading too. Enjoying life's little luxuries, spending quiet time alone, successful self-employment. And with this, I feel like it goes with the Queen of Cups because it feels like there's a knowing, like a just in case type of situation. The Nine of Pentacles is a more fruitful card, more fruitful archetype that tends to be more built or established. So for this energy to have little luxuries, it gives the impression that you're being smart with money and um, like there's that security there and being mindful. You also have the King of Earth here too. I feel like it links to the Queen of Cups, but I don't feel like it is the Queen of Cups. I feel like it's another energy. But with that, it's the Sun card. So this is like a really good combination of personalities. And with water and earth, water nurturing the earth, I think that's a nice elemental combination. And with the sun too, making things flourish. Definitely something bright in the darker seasons for this area of the world. So, King of Pentacles, generous, professional, responsible, practical, a successful time, confidently accept opportunities you're offered, the Midas touch. This could also be salvaging too. Not necessarily something that's broken, but again, to optimize it. It kind of reminds me of one of my childhood phones. I feel like my most busted childhood phone is probably from high school, like maybe later years of high school, I think. And um, I go through like a phase of I never drop it, and then once I drop it, it's pretty bad, and then all of a sudden, like I drop it 10 more times on like 10 other occasions, and it's completely shattered. Like, that phone that I had from high school, um, it technically worked, and you had to do certain things, like, it barely turned on when you plugged it in. Like, it eventually turned on, but it took forever. And then I don't know, there's like TMI kind of gross, but there's like something that was food that was kind of on the button. I don't know what happened to it. I swear I don't just like smear my phone on stuff like that. But it made it hard to like shut on and off, which wasn't that ideal because I dropped it so many times that I believe I broke the third layer of the screen, if that's what you call it, because again, technically it would turn on, but after a couple seconds, if like you kind of like clearly seeing what the image is, it would like black out like gradually, and then you couldn't see what you were doing. So you would either press like the button, like this is the older iPhone, and then um, it was just that would like turn the screen off for a while. You would have to turn the screen off for like a couple of moments for you to like resume what you were doing, and then it would like gradually black out again, and then you would repeat the process. But because the button was like stuck, like it was hard to like press, it would I would just had to wait for the screen to to just blank on its own, not to black out, but to actually just, when your phone is just when you haven't touched it or anything. I had to wait for that moment and then I would like continue what I was doing. So I have that phone still. It's in my storage unit because it actually uh I, it still technically works. So you also have the sun card. I feel like these elements are just working together. Happy outcome, brilliant new ideas that lead to success. Have confidence in yourself. And I felt like this day was kind of, extra meant to be because I was walking because I had to park on the side of the road and um, there was like a wrapped up fortune cookie on the ground. I didn't eat it, but I did want to see what the fortune was. And it was like saying that I was gonna, what was it saying? It's in my car. I was gonna put something effort in towards something into in the future, or I was going to take an opportunity or give a chance to something in the future, something like that. So there's a notable one that comes up again because it hasn't come up in a while, and it's leadership, Archangel Gabriel. It is time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others. Comfort, Archangel Azrael, I am with you in your time of need, helping your heart to heal. I feel like those two, like comfort and leadership, go together. And it's not being lazy. It actually, I'll give some examples because I felt like it's been on my mind for the last couple of days, but I was thinking about if I was going to bring it up or not. Bring the couple of things up. Gentleness, Archangel Saldafan. Be very gentle with yourself at this time. Surround yourself with gentle people, situations, and environments. Sensitivity, sensitivity, Archangel Haniel. You are extra sensitive to energies and emotions right now. Honor yourself and your feelings. You see the two swans in that. Claircognizance, Archangel Uriel, pay attention to thoughts and ideas that come to you as they are answered prayers. And beloved one, Archangel Chamuel, I'm helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationships. So, what I was talking about with the comfort and leadership, I do feel like there are times when people call on your strength and then um, it's like they don't really want to cry with you. They want to have the acknowledgement of the situation because a lot of times there's moments where you're not going to experience those same things that others have experienced. And um, there are, situations where someone goes through something and then like you don't have that experience that, as I was saying, that goes behind it. But I mean, sometimes you have, but with the comfort and leadership, I feel like regardless of it, if you have or haven't, it's asking to pave that pave the way and to basically again acknowledge or tell the person that use your power and stand tall with it and you can move forward. So this was a long time ago. And there's two examples. One, I'll say the one that happened earlier and then the one that happened later. Short story, well, really brief. And I was thinking about if I was going to bring it up or not because they aren't technically my stories. So they are things that people have told me of what they were going through. And I would call these the moments they were with people that I have known either briefly, maybe just met, and then one that I knew from work. But the first one I knew for maybe a moment, and there was this 12-year-old girl, and she was pregnant, and she was telling me that she wasn't sure if she was going to get an abortion or not because she was having twins and she wasn't sure if she would ever have twins again. And I wasn't going to tell her what she was or wasn't going to do. But whatever decision that she decided to make, I wasn't going to judge her or use it against her. And if it made her feel better, in a way, I would turn a blind eye if it would comfort her more in that time. Because the place that she would go to, I didn't want to condemn her, but what was waiting for her were people that were going to condemn her. So near my elementary school, there was well, she wasn't from elementary school and there was an age difference there, but I like in my elementary school and private school, well, in Catholic school, you can't appear pregnant there. Um, I don't know if anything changed since I've been in elementary school, and even high school, you can appear pregnant because, well, not because I'm not going to explain why they justified it, but they were saying that if you're pregnant, you could keep going to school until you start showing, and then once you start showing, you can't be in school anymore. So, um, near this school, there, I don't know if it's there anymore, there's an abortion clinic, and this abortion clinic was known to have protesters there. And I feel like one of the main things that was kind of didn't sit well. I mean, you could do whatever you want. It's just, so does this mean if these girls have the babies, you're definitely gonna take them, right? You're not gonna have them rot in an orphanage and like have rats like bite at their feet at night. That's what you're trying to say, right? Because you're if you're just gonna be protesting and not do anything about it other than for your whatever reason you're trying to get at. I'm not gonna try to think about what reason they were trying to do it for other than whatever they believed. But um, every journey is somebody's own journey, or everyone an individual's journey. And um, there was just something about it that, well, I'll say it after I say the other thing, but my uncle, not the one that is my mom's brother, but my other uncle who um, married my mom's older sister, she passed away from cancer a long time ago. I don't even know if I met her, but her husband, my uncle, grew up an orphan, and there was just like kind of you. I'm not saying like they have a specific personality that they take on, but there was just that aspect of refusing to have or date anybody else after that or be with anybody else after that. That was like it. That was like the one person and that was it. And I'm usually like the black sheep, or I mean, people don't associate with me a lot, but I am kind of surprised that I ended up being the favorite. And so there was just that type of dynamic that was there. And he passed away too. So, um, the other story was that I was at work. I was a barista at the time, and I was just in the back. I have one person that I ended up keeping in touch with, of course, and usually with the types of people that I interact with, and I consider them a person that stays in my life. Most of the time, they stay in my life for lifers, what it seems like for lifers. So, oh, and my uncle, my late uncle, with my late aunt, they also grew up in a poor area too. And so I feel like I've lived in so many environments. Like my best friend, I met her in the poorest city in that state at the time where I got my first apartment. And it was like people were afraid to go there. And I didn't think it was like, I felt like I was fine. But maybe it's like maybe because I was like coming from another state and I didn't really realize it, but, or maybe because like the Northeast is kind of not super, like it's hardy here. I'm not saying it's not hardy anywhere else, but there's definitely tough personalities, but not in like a mean way, but just hardy, if you know what I mean. And so, I mean, sometimes it can be like that. I was sorry, going back and going this back to the story. And I was a barista, and then there was this one manager, and I feel like she talked about different things, people. She was a pretty personable person. And so she was talking about when she had her first child, she got pregnant at 13. And I felt like there was a sadness there because, well, not about like being pregnant at 13. I know it was hard because she got kicked out and um, she moved into somebody else's attic. And she was telling me that her daughter was like her best friends. Like it was a different dynamic because of like the age that they had. Um, and so there was just something in me or something like telling me to remember these stories because people, like you're fortunate enough for people to tell you their stories. And it just like stays with me like to remember. And so that's what I'm getting with like the comfort and leadership. And that's why it's just kind of like those things because you experience all different walks of life. Like I was living in the poorest city in a state, and then where I was last outside of DC is one of is considered one of the wealthiest ranking areas in the US. And I'm in home base again, so I'm trying to rework the things that I do in my life. So, oh, sorry. I was, like I said, I did get a little treat earlier. And this area is also known for Italian food too, so it was kind of like a little celebratory thing after getting back from the yarn store and getting just a little Italian treat. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna venture off and go to a grocery store in another state because you could state hop here, which the Northeast is good for because I do like state hopping. And I heard you could do that in Europe too. So it's the Nine of Swords with the Hanged Man. So it says patience here. Surrender. I like how it says surrender. And not saying like to lose a fight or lose a battle or anything, but there's something that it's like stop fighting the flow of something. And no matter how much you try to wait or like decide like I'm just gonna sit down until this happens, and then it could take a while, and then you're at that point where you're like, You know what? Maybe I should do things while I'm waiting. But there's also with that Nine of Swords, the anxiety that comes out of it. It's interesting how this card is saying Dark Knight. I'm not saying you aren't gonna get a Dark Knight, but usually I refer to that, and usually the moon gets that connotation with it, where you're being, this is like a time of realizing. And it does look like a pendulum here too, even with the Hanged Man, and receiving an answer. So that could also be it, like anxiety of receiving an answer and like the weight of receiving an answer. And it just hangs on you, or like you're in suspension because you feel like maybe there is a lot to do. But when you're at work, of course, your boss is going to tell you, no, you definitely can do something. Um, so there are always like many tasks or journeys to kill the time. And if you keep hitting a wall with something, like there's a difference between persistence and like getting somewhere, and there's the sense of you keep doing this, and no matter how much you're going to want to have it this way, life is just like it's not gonna work like that. Like you gotta do something else. And sometimes, like I feel like in this case, it's like they're not saying it's not gonna happen, but they're just like you gotta redirect it because you're not prepared. I feel like life is telling you like you're not prepared because once it happens, like what are you gonna do? You haven't prepared anything. That it keeps coming up like you're not prepared, you're not prepared. So you have the Page of Wands and the Knight of Cups. You have like dynamics and archetypes. So you had the Queen of Cups and the King of Pentacles, and now this is the Page of Wands and the Knight of Cups. I feel like this Page of Wands kind of refers to the Eight of Wands because it says the Messenger on there. Even though it's like Wands fire energy, the Eight of Wands is known for that too. But I would say that the Swords is normally known for communication. But it seems more action oriented with this Messenger. Then with the Knight of Cups, it says the Kelpie Keeper. So there is, it kind of feels like there is a change, like a transformation because of like the Kelpie and being in different forms in different places in different times. So with the message, it can be receiving that message in different ways, even if it's not the most obvious, and still trying to get those signs from it. I try not to do this, but like a lot of times I like call up my best friend and I'm like, girl, this is a sign. And she's like, what? And I'm like, dude, I just found this fortune cookie. I thought that was a sign. But um it could also be the authenticity that you have with a person. Like I can also see this as two different people because the Queen of Cups and King of Pentacles come up. And I feel like they're two different personalities or two different people. Extra cards, you actually do have the Eight of Wands with the High Priestess. And with this, I'm getting absolution. So this could be like a concrete answer that you're looking for, but there's also reading between the lines, and there's also being ready for yourself. Like it's actually tending your future too. And with the High Priestess, with what you know, it kind of reminds me of like when I was in the yarn store, and for the first time, they didn't ask for a resume. They're like, show us what you know. And I'm like, okay. Just like a physical portfolio of my stuff. The Eight of Wands goes back to the Seven of Wands. Let me make sure. Because it, like Christmas time, it kind of goes back to a time. So that could also be, it's like a paradox almost because for me, there's like a memory of, you make a lot of memories during the holidays, but it's also a memory of the last winter in a way. But of course, you have memories of another winter, but winter's also coming up at some point too, because towards the end of the year. And then with Seven of Wands, it's almost like putting energy towards the past. Now, go to the future. It's with the Moon card. And I was talking about the Moon card with the Nine of Swords because it said the Dark Knight. And for those who may not hear the Dark Knight a lot, it's uncovering the depths of maybe your soul, maybe like a situation. It goes pretty deep. And it's like those skeletons in the closet that are forced to come out. It is heavy water energy that comes from the moon card. And, a lot of people don't like the dark. A lot of people don't like addressing or um, seeing those things for maybe what they really are. They may not be what you think that they are. Maybe it's a type of illusion that comes from the moon card because maybe when you see it at night, it's this scary thing, but then the reality of it is once you do it, it's not as bad as you think. And it might just take 10 minutes when you thought it was going to take 2 hours to accomplish something. Because you have the Emperor, which is taking the reins, and I would say this is heavy Earth energy at this time, even though it's a card of Aries, because you have the King of Pentacles in this reading. And with Emperor, I've said it in many videos, it's the embodiment of all the kings. There are a couple of page energies too. So I feel like there is that sense of innocence that comes out of it. So in the past, you have the Three of Wands. I feel like with that Hanged Man and the Nine of Swords, for the Three of Wands to be in the past, um, I'm getting that something is like cracking. Like you're cracking the code, you're getting to understand the depths of it, you're getting to understand the types of communication, and even with water, like with the Kelpie and the cups, and with the wands being it's referred to as a messenger in this reading, it makes me feel like you're kind of getting the gist or getting the hang of it, or you're cracking the code. Um, it's no longer a secret with the moon card. Even the moon is in the future. The emperor is willing to journey. It kind of looks like the Dante's Inferno type of situation. Even though that's like a satirical type of um, like text, there are messages and there are journeys that a lot of people go through. It might not be as deep as that, even though it is satirical, but there is that type of message of entering those dark places and coming out in a different way because of the things that you went through, the things that you realized, and the things that you've addressed. Um, and this kind of looks like religious too. So it kind of looks like something has risen, maybe risen to the challenge. Because the hanged man, it feels like it's not going to be a hanged man for much longer. And there's some mobility that comes out of that too. But after this, it does feel like there was a lot that it took out. But with the leadership and comfort, if you're the leader or if you see somebody else as a leader, they can help with your strength. So the obstacle is the Two of Wands, and you have the Three of Wands in the past. So the obstacle, you're reverting back to the two, and the Eight of Swords. There's just a lot on the mind, a lot of unknowing, a lot of things that may have maybe you thought that they weren't addressed. Like there could have been some type of communication or non-communication, something that you were looking for somebody to say, and then they didn't say it, and then somebody could have been making these scenarios in their head because that's a lot of times like when you have those certain cards that come out of the swords suit can resemble like those hypothetical situations that you create in your head when it blocks what is really happening. And how to overcome the obstacle is Page of Cups. This kind of reminds me of like the card that comes out of the Archangel Oracle, where it says that love only exists. Maybe I'll find it. You would think that like it has such small, like short phrases, and then I just like butcher it half the time. At the bottom of the deck, Archangel Gabriel, as you nurture a child, you nurture your own inner child. Both activities are important for you right now. I'm not going to read everything, but remember who you are, Archangel Michael. You are a powerful, loving, and creative child of God. You are very loved. I'm going to quickly try to go through it because I feel like I'll just like end up. Oh, no, it's right here. Peace, Archangel Chamuel. Peace comes from remembering only love is real. So that feels like a centering card. And it's a different type of centering because your mind might be influenced a lot by your heart. And a lot of times we try to separate those two, but as traditional medicine, especially like traditional Chinese medicine, says that everything is connected. Like one area can be affected, but then it affects an area on a completely different area of the body. So if you are working on something, even in life, even if it isn't your physical body, it does have like a domino effect of affecting other things. It's not just like a one in like one thing. Um, but I feel like it can be a dynamic between the Queen of Cups and King of Pentacles If it's not two people, it could be dealing with certain situations in your life. You can take it as it is. But thank you guys so much for watching. I might do a car reading. I'll see what the next one is, but I'm I'm hoping I just like end up back downstairs, but I have to see what I can move because I don't want to keep like moving everything around. So I'll see you. Bye.